I got to fulfill a big dream of mine today. For the longest time, I've wanted to decorate a multi-layer, fun and fancy cake. I love watching cake decorating videos. I love the idea. In the past, anytime I've made a cake, it's always just one layer and normally the center sinks. So I was really determined to take my time and do this properly. And I have to tell you, I am so proud of how this turned out. So I had already pre-made this cake and I did a step that I've never even done before, which was to cut off the tops and make them all level, which was really fun. I wish I would have recorded that, but I did not. And then I froze the cake layers. That way they were ready to go. Put a little dollop of icing on your little cake stand, and then we're going to build our cake. So I decided to do 3 layers of cake, and then I just used store-bought icing. This is not a frosting making video, so I was just trying to make it simple on myself, although I do think that homemade buttercream would have been probably easier to work with, so bear with me here. So I'd put in a layer, try to make the most even layer of icing I possibly could, and build my layers. And then from there, we're putting it back in the freezer. This took a really long time. It took a lot of patience, something that I don't normally have. The colder that it is, the easier it is to work with. Then we're going to do what I think is called a crumb coat. And this is where you lay frosting over the entire thing. It's okay if some of it's poking through. I tried using this little device that smooths it out, and I think it went okay. And then we put it back into the freezer for about 10 minutes or so. Then we're gonna put on our top layer, which was really fun, and then just trying to figure out how to properly smooth it out. I was trying out all the different little tools that came in my cake decorating kit. I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing. Here's the thing about me is that I don't actually watch tutorials for how to do things. I just assume that I can figure it out by looking at it. And sometimes I can and sometimes I can't. And you know, I really don't quite understand how people get them to look so perfect. I was really trying. I kept going over the certain spots and then there'd be like little lines. So I made it as perfect as I possibly could. I really did take my time on this. I wasn't trying to rush, but I have no idea how you make it look like perfectly smooth. So if you have any tips for that, please let me know. Then I decided I wanted to do like a little chocolate ganache drizzle around the edge. And the trick to this is that you put a little heavy cream in with the chocolate when you melt it. And then that way you can actually use food coloring. Because if you were to put food coloring just straight into the white chocolate, then it most likely would cause the white chocolate to seize, which I actually learned years ago on accident. So learning this was actually really exciting. What a cool little trick. So I decided to make like a purpley color. I had this really fun neon pink food coloring that I was gonna use, but I was afraid that it was the wrong kind of food coloring and that it would ruin it. So then I decided I would make a fun purple color, and at first it really just was not good. I was worried at this point about what color it was gonna be. So I tried adding a little more red, and eventually we got like an okay reddish purpley color. It actually looked a lot better on the final cake, as you'll see, but I was also a little worried about this. Okay, these little cake drizzles, it looks so easy. It was probably the hardest part of this whole experience. The idea was that I was going to do these little cake drizzles and then just do these pretty dollops on top, put some sprinkles on and call it a day. But these drizzles were a lot harder than I was expecting. So first of all, you have to get the temperature right of the ganache. I let it cool a little bit too long, and so I had to heat it up a little bit more so that it would have that drizzle effect. We kind of started that little spot over. It was kind of fun at first, and then the problem was is that I decided to go back and fill in some spots, and I shouldn't have done that. I should have just left it alone, because the spots that I did not fill in looked a lot prettier than the places where I went and filled in more lines. And then I tried to do just like these little dollops, and from the top they actually look really cute, but from the side it looked really silly because you could see the lines of the ganache. So then I decided I needed to fill in with some more little dollops. I tried adding some sprinkles, and then again it looked okay, but then I decided to add this little border, and then that looked dumb. So I kept adding, and at some point I started to get worried that I was never going to be able to stop adding, and I was eventually ruining it. But at this point it was starting to turn out really cute. So I added some sprinkles, which I absolutely love, and overall I think it turned out amazing. I'm really, really happy with the final cake, and I look forward to the day I can look back on this cake and be like, wow, that's hideous, because I'm so good at making cakes that I couldn't possibly imagine making something this terrible. But that's a big part of the fun of learning something new, is getting to get better and eventually look back and see all the progress you made. I did make this cake for a friend, so I don't have an inside reveal for you, but I'm very proud. and thank you for following along on my journey. I hope I can show you some even more beautiful cakes in the future. I'm gonna keep working on it. If you have any tips, please send them my way. This is something I really do want to be good at some point in my life. All tips and tricks are welcome in the comments below. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.